Hey guys, welcome back to our study. We're reading John chapter 5. Happy Monday. I'm going to switch back to the New Living Translation. I read Luke all but one chapter. I went ahead and I read that from New Living Translation. Not because I don't like the World English Bible. I do enjoy it. But I've noticed in going back and editing things and while I'm recording, I'm stumbling a lot with this translation. And I want to be able to read a little bit more smoothly, just for my personal preference. We may go to the New International Version next. We may go to Amplified. We'll see how I'm feeling, but today we're going to read New Living Translation just because I know I can read this smoothly. I don't stumble over my words as much. And we're still going to get some great information, great reading. So if you don't have New Living Translation, download the Bible app, the YouVision Bible app. It is free, or pull it up on your computer. You can pull it up that way. I think there's even an option to print out certain numbers of pages for all the different translations. You may be able to print anything you want at home. I don't know. I've never tried that. But if you want a physical paper copy, go to thebible.com. Click the New Living Translation, print out a copy of the chapter if you want to, so that you can read along word for word, or just read along in the Bible that you have access to. Doesn't have to be exactly this translation, or just listen if that's your personal preference. You know, you're getting the word in some way, somehow, and that's all that matters. So let's go ahead and dive into chapter 5. Afterward, Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days. Inside the city, near the sheep gate, was the pool of Bethesda, with 5 covered porches. Crowds of sick people, blind, lame, or paralyzed, lay on the porches. One of the men lying there had been sick for 38 years. When Jesus saw him and knew he had been ill for a long time, he asked him, "Would you like to get well?" "I can't, sir," the sick man said, "for I have no one to put me in the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there ahead of me." Jesus told him, "Stand up, pick up your mat, and walk." Instantly the man was healed. He rolled up his sleeping mat and began walking. But this miracle happened on the Sabbath, so the Jewish leaders objected. They said to the man who was cured, "You can't work on the Sabbath. The law doesn't allow you to carry that sleeping mat." But he replied, "The man who healed me told me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" "Who said such a thing as that?" they demanded. That man didn't know, for Jesus had disappeared into the crowd. But afterward, Jesus found him in the temple and told him, "Now you are well, so stop sinning, or something even worse may happen to you." Then the man went and told the Jewish leaders that it was Jesus who had healed him. So the Jewish leaders began harassing Jesus for breaking the Sabbath rules. But Jesus replied, "My Father is always working, and so am I." So the Jewish leaders tried all the harder to find a way to kill him. For he not only broke the Sabbath, he called God his Father, thereby making himself equal with God. So Jesus explained, "I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He does only what he sees the Father doing. Whatever the Father does, the Son also does. For the Father loves the Son and shows him everything he is doing. In fact, the Father will show him how to do even greater works than healing this man. Then you will truly be astonished. For just as the Father gives life to those he raises from the dead, so the Son gives life to anyone he wants. In addition, the Father judges no one. Instead, he has given the Son absolute authority to judge, so that everyone will honor the Son, just as they honor the Father. Anyone who does not honor the Son is certainly not honoring the Father who sent him. I tell you the truth, those who listen to my message and believe in God who sent me have eternal life. They will never be condemned for their sins, but they will have already passed from death into life. And I assure you that the time is coming, indeed, it's here now, when the dead will hear my voice, the voice of the Son of God, and those who listen will live. The Father has life in himself and has granted the same life-giving power to his Son. And he has given him the authority to judge everyone, because he is the Son of Man. Don't be so surprised. Indeed, the time is coming when all the dead in their graves will hear the voice of God's Son, and they will rise again. For those who have done good will rise to experience eternal life, and those who have continued in evil will rise to experience judgment. I can do nothing on my own. I judge as God tells me. Therefore, my judgment is just, because I carry out the will of the one who sent me, not the will of my own. If I were to testify on my own behalf, my testimony would not be valid. But someone else is also testifying about you, and I assure you that everything he says about me is true. In fact, you sent investigators to listen to John the Baptist, and his testimony about me was true. Of course, I have no need of human witnesses, but I say these things so you might be saved. John was like a burning and shining lamp, and you were excited for a while about his message. But I have a greater witness than John, my teachings and my miracles. The Father gave me these works to accomplish, and they prove that he sent me. And the Father who sent me has testified about me himself. You have never heard his voice or seen him face to face, and you do not have his message in your hearts, because you do not believe me, the one he sent to you. You search the scriptures because you think they will give you eternal life, but the scriptures point to me. Yet you refuse to come to me to receive this life. Your approval means nothing to me, because I know you don't have God's love within you. For I have come to you in my Father's name, and you have rejected me. Yet if others come in their own name, you gladly welcome them. No wonder you can't believe, for you gladly honor each other, but you don't care about the honor that comes from the one who alone is God. Yet it isn't I who will accuse you before the Father. Moses will accuse you. Yes, Moses, in whom you put your hopes. If you really believed Moses, you would believe me, because he wrote about me. But since you don't believe what he wrote, how will you believe what I say? And that was John chapter 5. Again, I'm reading from a red letter translation in my app, and I'm really grateful because I like having that delineation. This was a lot of red letters. And he gave the Pharisees the business. I will say this, I don't like out of this particular translation, I'm going to switch back to the World English Bible. It completely skips the information about that there was an angel that went down at certain times to stir up the water. I'm checking my 2, 3. Yeah, and in the New Living Translation, verse 4 is completely omitted. And it's in my notes on the app, which I'm grateful for. So in the notes it says some manuscripts add or expand add an expanded conclusion to the verse 3 and all of verse 4. They're waiting for a certain movement in the water, for an angel of the Lord came from time to time and stirred up the water, and the first persons to step in after the water was stirred up was healed of whatever disease he had. I think that's really important, that you know that it's an angel causing these waters to bubble and to froth, and that it's God's doing and it's God's healing. It's not just some crazy mumbo jumbo magical pool of water. It's actually God sending an angel down with an assignment. So I don't like that the New Living Translation excludes that particular verse. And I know there's several other verses in the New Living Translation and in the NIV, the New International Version, that are omitted. I think there's a spot in Matthew where there's one omitted. There was one in Luke that was omitted, but it was in the footnotes, so I actually read it from the footnotes when I was reading Luke in December. So I don't like that. That's why I like Amplified. That's why I like the World English Bible. It includes those verses. It doesn't omit them. And I think it's very important that we include all of the words written in these books, in these Gospels, because they're there for a reason. So if you don't have a Bible that has good footnotes, again, download the Bible app, find whatever translation that your paper Bible is, and go and check the footnotes. It's a little bubble in line. Let's see here if I can have you see it. See those little bubbles right there? Yeah, it's a little bubble that you can click on, and it shows you the notes, the footnotes, if there's an excluded verse. So I really like that about the app. And again, it's free. You can download it on a bunch of different devices. They've also got some reading plans and some Bible studies inside the app as well that you may want to check out. But yeah, today Jesus gives the Pharisees the business about the fact that he is the Son of God. God sent him to do his tasks. He's not there to do his own will. He is there to do the Father's will, which one could argue his will is the Father's will because he is God. It's a triune being. There are three parts, but it's all one being. But I do like that he regularly states, I'm not here to serve my own will and my own purposes. I'm here to serve God and to do God's will and to do God's assignment. And even still, we know the ending. They still reject him for it. They still condemn him for it because they just couldn't believe. But yeah, chapter 5, that wasn't super long. That was 47 verses. Let's see what chapter 6 is going to have for us. 71 verses in the next chapter. So we got quite a chunky one to read tomorrow. But I hope you guys had a great day. And in the meantime and in between time, stay blessed, stay bold. I'll see you in the next one.